Hello, I'm so glad you're here joining me. So today, I really want to set you up for success. It's the day before Thanksgiving. I'm not even really talking about Thanksgiving. What I find with a lot of my clients, it's not so much Thanksgiving Day as it is the weekend after Thanksgiving. And just give me a like on this video if that is something that you struggle with. Like Thanksgiving Day, you do pretty well, but then it's like you just keep eating all weekend. If that's the case, I want to help you with that. Also today, I'm going to tell you about how I'm preparing for that Advent challenge I talked about how I'm not having any sugar from the day after Thanksgiving all the way until Christmas Day. No sugar. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that. And if you want to do a challenge, maybe it's not sugar, no sugar, or some kind of challenge with me to just prepare your minds and your hearts for Christ's coming instead of focusing on things that aren't the reason for the season, right? That that little tagline that so many people want to use, but it's true. If you really want to put your focus on what the real reason why we are celebrating this season is, then let's figure that out together today. Okay, so if you don't know me, I'm Amanda Kelder. I'm a Christian weight loss and life coach, and I love helping women feel just amazing in their skin, in these beautiful temples in their bodies that God gave them, by helping them implement self-control around food and learning how to follow through on what they say they were going to do for themselves, and really changing their identity back to how God sees them, okay? Because all of these things affect what action we take, how we're eating, all of it. And I really want to help you get to the root of the problem and not just keep trying to force yourself to do things that work for a while and then you get sick of and you are done with. I want to really help women lose the weight, lose it for good, and do it in a way that's really God-centered. Okay, so let's get back to what we're talking about today. We're talking about after Thanksgiving. Now, if that resonates with you, because I've been coaching now for a while and I've gone through quite a few holidays, and I even know for myself that I would be so focused on Thanksgiving and I would actually do pretty well on Thanksgiving. And then it seemed like the rest of the weekend was the really tough part. It's like I totally forgot that I still had, like 3 days with family and activities, and I checked out and just went back into old habits. So if that is something you struggle with, I really want to help you with that, okay? I am a big believer in planning and preparing. And so if you're not thinking about those days, planning, preparing for them, even just thinking through them a little bit, like I said, you're going to fall back into your old habits that got you to where you are now, okay? And it makes sense, you've done the holiday thing, you thought about that, and now you're out of your routine, you're sitting around maybe with family, or you're running around shopping, doing Black Friday shopping, and it's like we just seem to check out at times. Or there's just so many things or maybe you kind of held back on Thanksgiving, and now you feel I know I've had thoughts of well, I deserve a treat now, or I did so well, so I can have a little leeway now. And then it's we give ourselves a little leeway and then we just go all in, right? So I want to give you a 3-step process that I've actually been walking all my clients through this week to help them so that they follow through on what they really want to be doing for themselves. Because all those extra treats and leftovers and everything that you're eating throughout the rest of the weekend, yeah, they sound good in the moment, but that's not really what you want for long term. Because I know how you feel and how your body feels after a weekend of eating just a whole bunch of things that you're not used to eating, that are really heavy, that have way more calories than you normally consume, right? And so let's talk a little bit about this process, okay? First, I want to let you know that follow through is the hardest part. And this is something that I have learned so much about when it comes to following through to weight loss, staying committed, being accountable to yourself, because that really is the hardest part. You know how to lose weight. It's how to follow through, okay? So if the very first step in my whole follow through process that I take all my clients in is planning and preparing. And so that's what we're going to do today. We're going to plan and prepare with this very simple 3-step, I'm going to say process, but like technique to kind of help you plan and prepare very well for yourself. Okay. So the very first thing you do is you start with the end in mind. Okay. And I suggest you do this for each day throughout the weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So like, how are you going to feel going to bed Friday night or Saturday night or driving home on Sunday, right? How do you want to feel each of those days at the end of the day? Do you want to feel light? Do you want to feel joyful? Do you want to feel happy? Do you want to feel connected? What do you want to feel? Get very clear on that, okay? Then I want you to think about, this is step number 2. What actions will I have to take to actually feel that way at the end of the night? What actions are going to lead to me feeling that way, right? So like if I want to feel connected, that means my focus is on family, asking them questions, playing games with them, getting to know them better. And I don't do that if I'm eating a lot of food. So maybe it's having salads so that, or even just planning all the food I'm going to have so that I'm not thinking about food, I'm thinking about them, right? Okay. So what are all the things that all the steps I'm going to need to take to actually feel that way by the end of the night? Okay. That's step number 2. Step number 3 is, how do I need to prepare, set my environment up to actually follow through on those actions that I need to be taking to feel that way at the end of the night? Okay. So maybe I need to bring along a journal if I'm going to be planning, or if, have something to log my food in. I'm going to have certain games picked out, and there are some things or some questions I'm just going to have figured out before I go, so that I'm making sure I'm asking all these questions and talking to people. Whatever it is, how do you plan so you follow through on those actions you want to be taking? Okay, sometimes what comes up for some of my clients when I do this with them, they're like, this is really tedious. It is. Yeah, it is. It's tedious here at first. It won't always be tedious. The reason it feels so tedious is because you feel, here's what my clients often say, I feel like I should just know this stuff by now. Yeah. The thing is, you do know it, but your habits aren't showing it. So that means you're going to have to make a change. And if you're going to make a change, you got to plan. You know that old adage, if you, what is it? If you don't plan, you plan to fail, right? Something along those lines. Any change you want to be making, you need to start planning and preparing for it. Otherwise, you will just fall back into those old habits you've normally had, okay? If you really want to lose weight, if you really want to feel good in your skin, if you really want to just be eating food for fuel for your body, this is something that is worth the time and effort and energy to put into, to think about, okay? One last thing I want to say, and I say this every year, so many of you have probably heard me say this before, is if you're worried about wasting leftovers, wasting food, I want to just remind you, you consuming extra fuel and it turning into fat on your body, extra adipose tissue, that's a waste too. Because that adipose tissue is just sitting there. It's not being used. So either you can waste it in the garbage, or you can waste it on your body. Which one do you want to choose? Okay. Let's talk a little bit about the Advent challenge that I'm doing, that I encourage you to come along with me and do with me, okay? So like I said, I'm doing no sugar. I want to challenge you though. You pick something that stretches you, okay? I know for a lot of you, it's kind of crazy, right? No sugar at the time of year where there is the most sugar, the best treats, the things we look forward to the most all year long, right? That's exactly why I picked it. Because that is where my focus wants to go to, is all the goodies and all the fun things I'm going to get. When I really want my focus to be on God and the blessing and the gift of Christ's coming. Okay? And so I encourage you, if there's something, maybe you're not ready for no sugar at all, and I totally get that. A couple years ago, if you would have told me to do no sugar during Christmas, I would have laughed at you. Okay? So maybe instead you could have a challenge of like praying before you put anything in your mouth, or only maybe limiting sugar in some way. Maybe only eating sugar when other people are around. You just don't eat it by yourself. Or maybe you're going to cut pop or coffee because you have, 5 cups a day with a whole bunch of cream. Or maybe it's, I'm going to plan my food every day during this season. So at least I'm thoughtful about what I'm putting in my mouth. Okay? Whatever it is, I want you to challenge yourself. Okay? I want you to challenge yourself to prepare your mind to be more focused on, like I said, the reason for the season. More focused on Christ than the food that you are going to consume. Okay? Now, like I said, if you would have asked me to do no sugar a couple years ago, I would have laughed. But I've reduced a lot of sugar. I don't eat a ton of it. I've noticed it coming back in though, and it's just time for me to kind of reset my focus on what's really important. And also, the reason I wanted to do it is I wanted to get really uncomfortable. Because I actually find myself now enjoying being uncomfortable. I like it because I lean more into God at that time. I've practiced over and over again. If I'm feeling a lot of discomfort, I'm going to turn to God. And to me, that's just such a blessing. Why not make myself uncomfortable so I am focusing more on God? If I get too comfortable, I seem to want to just ignore Him. So that is why I'm doing the no sugar. Now, I can tell you right now, it's going to be super hard for me. I'm going to be very transparent with you. And I'm probably going to screw up at some point. It's pretty much a given. At some point, I'm going to forget and pop something in my mouth. I know that because I check out sometimes too. Okay? But I'm going to be really honest with you, and you're going to see me stumble. And I want you to see me stumble because I want you to see the difference between how I think about that stumble and how I pivot from it to how you do. Because this is what probably the biggest thing I've seen, the difference I've seen between what I do now and what I did before, and like what my clients do right now. Okay? It's like they have a failure, a misstep, a mistake, whatever they want to call it, and then they make it mean that they are a failure, that they failed. Okay? I don't believe that anymore. And since I don't believe that, I tend to turn around and like regroup so much quicker, like in an instant. Like, it's not a problem. I ate that thing. I'm just not going to eat it anymore. I realized it. Or my next meal is going to be awesome. Like, and being able to do that, then that one mistake doesn't really mean a lot. It doesn't throw me off course. I don't go into the slide of self-sabotage. Okay? So we're going to talk about this more throughout the next 30 days that I'm going to be talking to you guys a lot, which is not like me. I don't love being on video. I don't love taking lots of pictures of me or anything. I like to kind of disconnect from social media a lot, but I want to do this for you. I really want to help you guys start seeing how to really transform your mind around food and approach it differently. Okay? So like I just talked about, setting your environment up for success. I've already started doing that. I've already started preparing myself for the challenge coming. I've thrown away some of the things that are in the freezer that tempt me but don't seem to tempt my family. They forgot about them, so we threw those out, right? I just haven't been buying some of the things that I normally buy that tempt me. My family knows it, and so that, they'll get some of their treats, but some things we're just not going to bring into the house that they don't really love. Now, on the flip side of that, I'm also really nervous because Friday, right after Thanksgiving, we're having a dual birthday party for my oldest and my youngest. And there's going to be ice cream cake, and there's going to be a whole bunch of stuff that very first day. But I'm also preparing myself for that. I know that that's going to be a tough day. I promise you guys, you need to follow me. Come follow me here because I will be checking in here. So subscribe to this channel and come follow me on Facebook and Instagram. I will be putting up pictures, and I'm going to be talking a lot about what I'm seeing and my thought processes. You're going to see that it's very similar to how you're tempted, but then how I use that temptation, how I think a little differently about those urges to eat and those temptations so that I don't eat it, right? So, okay, what I want you to do today is I want you to make some boundaries or some guidelines, right? Like when I first made this video, I said, I'm not going to have anything with added sugar. But then I started looking at all the packaging and everything, and I realized that my protein powder has monk fruit in it, and it has added sugar. I'm not cutting out my protein powder. Sorry, ladies, not going to do that because it keeps me fuller longer. It makes my body feel really good, and it helps me stop myself from overeating. So I'm not going to cut that out, but I'm going to cut out just about all the other added sugar, okay? So I want you to think about that with whatever challenge you're doing. Be really mindful of what are my boundaries, what are my guidelines, where am I staying within? Because you're also going to hear me celebrating the little steps that I'm taking, that I'm really proud that I do. Like if Friday night, when I don't eat any cake, because I'm not going to, I'm going to be really proud of myself. And I'm going to be proud of myself even though I maybe had a protein shake that had added sugar, right? So many times I find that my clients feel that they still failed because they didn't do it like perfectly. And I don't even know what perfectly is. Like to me, that's imperfect. If I'm beating myself up for having something that makes my body feel good but has some added sugar in it, like healthy, natural added sugar in it, right? So I really want you to think about what kind of guidelines can I have that if I hit these guidelines, I can celebrate. I'd be really happy that I followed through, okay? So basically, this really is about being realistic. It's not about being perfect. It's about progress. It's about turning your focus to God and the gift of His Son this coming season, okay? So be realistic with yourself and love yourself. Like when you're making these guidelines, think about yourself with love. Like I really thought about myself. I love my protein shake. It's something I have just about every day, and it makes my body feel really good. Why would I cut that out just because it has some added sugar that's pretty natural, right? Okay, like I said, there are going to be things though that I'm going to pop in my mouth that I either didn't know had added sugar or I'm not even going to think about it. I'm betting on it, and I'm not a betting person. Like I said, I'm going to be really transparent about it so that you can learn. You can start seeing the differences in mindset, how you look at food, how you're looking at your body, how you're looking at yourself and how you see yourself, how God created you to be, and how maybe I look at it differently. okay? Because they all influence what you do. Yes, even how you eat, okay? So make sure you're subscribing to this page. You can come check me out on Facebook. It's called Amanda Kelder, Called to Encourage. You can check out my page there. Follow me there. You can follow me on Instagram, A Kelder. But really, I'm going to be coming twice a week here on YouTube and really giving you a synopsis of things that have been beneficial, things that I've seen that I've struggled with and haven't struggled with, and really help you start shifting your mindset and help you start preparing, because I know many of you are thinking, oh, the new year's coming, I'll just make it through the holidays and then I'll focus on it then. Okay, that's fine if you want to do that. I don't recommend that, but at least maybe if you're following me, you can start like thinking about, well, what are the changes I'm going to need to make when it comes to the new year, right? If I really do want to lose weight. Okay, here's what I want you to do right now. I want you to leave a comment below this video with how you're going to set your environment up to aid you in being successful in this challenge, whatever you're challenging yourself with. And if you're struggling, I will be sure to give you some ideas on how to set up your environment. If you're struggling with what to challenge yourself with, comment below with that. I'd love to help you out. And I am praying for you. I hope you're praying for and encouraging me on this journey. And I just can't wait actually to start this with you. May you all have just the most blessed Thanksgiving. Enjoy this time in this holiday, and you'll hear from me soon.